joining us via Zoom. We're going to be talking a bit about that situation of the Jaguar in Palo Seco, but moving onward to the Hunters Search and Rescue Team, trying to get an understanding of the work that they do, what drives them, and what we can expect from them moving forward. Now, on the issue of the Jaguar in Palo Seco, headlines over the past couple of weeks have been about this Jaguar. Some persons have taken to social media making memes and poking fun at the situation. For others, they have had a legitimate, in their minds, reason to be fearful, locked in their homes because of this wild animal on the loose. The important thing is that we have a proper understanding in times like this, whether it is real or not, to deal with situations, have a plan moving forward, and especially have persons who are qualified and experienced to treat with these kinds of situations. I noted the headline which said, "No proof of Jaguar despite claw marks and attack claims." And this was coming from reports of the conservator of forest, Denny Dipchan Singh. He was saying in response to a report by a Palo Seco resident that he was attacked by the animal. But nonetheless, the fear of this wildcat being on the loose has gripped the nation for the better part of the last couple of weeks. So joining me to discuss a bit more about that situation and how it has been developing over the past couple of days and so on is the founder and leader of the Hunters Search and Rescue Team, Mr. Vallence Rambharat. Good morning and welcome to AM Prime.
Good morning, Nikolai. We welcome the sunshine this morning, and because we know that residents need this sunshiny weather to engage in the cleanup exercise. We're happy that we're on your program this morning, WESN, and a pleasant good morning to both you, your team there, and your viewership.
Thank you so much. Now, I could imagine that the past couple of days and weeks have been some restless nights for you and your team because it seems as though persons now are looking toward you and your team as being a lead or an authority on this situation that has evolved. Would you mind sharing with us how you and your team came to be involved in this search for the Jaguar in Palo Seco?
Well, first of all, as a responsible team, we have excellent members on the team. And before we engage any situation, there's livid discussion on our chat group. And from there, we decide whether we want to be involved or not. In this particular case of the alleged Jaguar sighting in Palo Seco, we discussed the matter, and it was decided that we should approach the conservator of forest, Mr. Denny Dipchan Singh, to share our ideas with him and discuss whether, in fact, there ought to have been a response to the alleged sighting. And we were on the same page from the beginning. The Minister of Agriculture, Lands and Fisheries, Mr. Kazim Hussein, was also on the telephone with me, and we thought that first of all that the reports ought, confirm or unconfirm, ought to be taken seriously. And what we did is that we engaged them to have a presence in Palo Seco. We worked with the Santa Clara police station. They had some reports of sightings as well, and we came on board. You see, Nikolai, if there's a presence of such an animal in the environment, it's easy to detect it. And so we thought initially that the approach by the Forestry Division was the correct approach. You approach it scientifically, you look for any evidence of the presence of such an animal in the environment. And so what we did was a preliminary visit to the area. We looked, first of all, there was a person who was alleging that a dog had attacked, and a jaguar had attacked his dog. We immediately dismissed that upon looking at the animal. And then there was another sighting by a gentleman who said he was going to dig yams, and there was a pig carcass nearby, and we combed that area There was another alleged sighting by some heritage workers or a worker, and we combed that site as well. So there were some paw prints that we looked at. There wasn't consensus amongst the persons present about what it was. And immediately, well, we collected that data and sent it off for verification, analysis and verification. And so the approach, I want to commend the Ministry of Agriculture, Lands and Fisheries, and specifically Mr. Denny Dipchansing for leading his team competently and to have now dismissed that there is a jaguar in the area within the space of 5 to 6 days. They must be commended for this, and I think they've allayed the fears of the residents of Palo Seco, and that community can now rest peacefully, knowing that there isn't the presence of such an animal in their environment.
Understood. Now, you're speaking about they can rest easy, but I would imagine that for the past couple of days, your team was not able to rest easy. And one of the things that I would have wondered from the start, and many people would wonder, going into a situation like this, there has to be obviously a lot of precaution because your lives are at stake as well. But what I want to say experience, or how is it that you all are able to go into a situation like this and maneuver in the way that you all have? Has there been training? Has there been qualifications and so forth? Would you mind sharing a bit with us about that?
I can tell you the major qualification has been passionate.
Nice.
Our team is comprised of ordinary men of straw, men who are salt of the earth. We don't have much resources. We have the passion to do what we do. And when the group was solidified, members indicated that they wanted to continue to do this type of work, and we've gone at it non-stop. We're able to mobilize at a moment's notice. We are self-funded. Members put their own fuel in their vehicles, and they arrive at a spot quickly. But what we also able to do, and this is working with stakeholders, we able to get their attention first of all, and then we able to quickly go through how to prepare for such an event. Now, the exercise, the first day we went in, which was a day after the alleged sighting, a lot of preparation has to go into it so that the game wardens were prepared on their end. The zoo staff, they were prepared on their end. So when we went in, we had adequate protection in case of a sighting. We had the team they gathered had tranquilizer gun. In case of, the jaguar is a stealth animal, so it will give you little notice. It doesn't come in the open, It wouldn't be among children watching you. It's a stealth animal, and it will be properly hidden, except for that last split second when it launches its attack on you. And these animals don't just attack anything just like that. They only launch an attack if they're hungry. And so we were well prepared. We were well prepared. We were well protected, and we're really guardians of the environment. We're familiar with it. We protect it. We understand it, and so we have our safeguards as we go into such situations. We have a clear understanding of what we do and what we ought to protect ourselves from, and that is why I give credit to the team members, because whilst we're in a chat group, all issues come to the fore very quickly, within seconds, within minutes, and we're able to assimilate all this information, and there is good team discussion and sharing of issues, and we able to delegate responsibilities quickly to various members.
Gotcha. And as you're talking about the level of interaction that you all have, and clearly there's a method, a procedure that you all undertake that I would imagine came over time. having all the experiences that you all have, coalescing that and working on our way forward. What it says to me is that you all are professionalizing, in some sense, hunters and search and rescue teams locally. You all have been in the spotlight for some time now, looking or being on the hunt for persons who've been missing, combing areas throughout this country. We could think back at Andrea Barath and persons we know whose bodies and stuff would have been discovered as a result of the good efforts and work of persons going out there and deciding to, as a citizen, be involved in these things. Now, it speaks to, on one end, that there is this deficit to some degree in terms of the established organizations that we have, in such as the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service and so forth. Many people may be wondering, are you all moving to a point where you all will be co-opted quite frequently by, let's say, the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service and other organizations on these efforts? So they have, as you know, joint patrols which take place between TTPS and the military, but also are we seeing consistent effort for these organizations to engage you all moving forward?
Yeah, I think some of what we do, we do not publish, and what is taking place with these state organizations are a lot of collaboration. From the onset, we have worked closely with the anti-kidnapping unit. And Nikolai, let me just go through a particular scenario with you,
Sure.
so for you to understand and your viewers to understand how this thing works. We don't operate in a vacuum. We professionally and diplomatically engage the state organizations. So when a person is reported to us, probably before reporting to the police, that one of their loved ones has gone missing, we treat with the report immediately. It is published. But at the same time, that report is sent to the anti-kidnapping unit. And a discussion is engaged with them at that level. All this within moments of the report coming in, Nikolai. And if that report has to be red flagged, we red flag it. That means that we have reason to believe that this person may have been harmed while being missing. Yes. And that report is treated with urgency by the anti-kidnapping unit. Remember that a report wasn't made to a police station as yet. And immediately we plan with them a course of action, and sometimes within minutes or next day we launch a search for them with the full knowledge and cooperation of the state organizations. Sometimes we have to be engaged with the Trinidad and Tobago Fire Services, and we've engaged the Defense Force, we've worked with a lot of the special forces in the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service. Sometimes quietly, because sometimes we know what to publish. We were probably in the middle of a mission that still has a distance to go, and we need to keep the information quiet. We don't publish our work, and so quite a bit of our work goes unpublished. But we do work with these organizations in a responsible and professional way. And so at any time we're in the field, the anti-kidnapping unit knows where we are, who we're looking for, what is our search plan, because we do develop the search plan with them. Yesterday, for instance, the team was on standby. We didn't get a location. It wasn't necessary at that point in time, but the word came that we ought to be on standby, and they may call us at a very short notice to assist in a search. It didn't come through, but that is the nature of how this relationship works.
Yes. There are those who may consider you all to be a vigilante group. Is that a term that you all accept or not?
No, we don't. We simply we our vision is that there's families whose loved ones go missing. And what we've expanded into recently is trying to help in a national effort for search and rescue operations. So the team was on standby yesterday with the situation in South Trinidad, where you had a lot of rain and people may need to get out of their homes. So the South team with South team was on standby to assist. I saw on the news, for instance, that those were adequately taken care of by the disaster management unit of the Penal Debe Regional Corporation. So we're not a vigilante group. We simply there to assist families whose loved ones go missing. And if we need to expand at short notice in terms of a national search and rescue effort, we would.
Understood. Now, I'm looking at your Facebook page, and you all have 23,000 likes, or no, 35,000 followers, as a matter of fact. This, I would imagine, came within a period of time, this interest in the work that you do, the support and so forth. How has the feedback been from those persons, let's say on social media, or who that you meet on the ground and they realize that, hey, this is the Hunters Search and Rescue Team?
Oh, the feedback has been great. I mean, people applaud our work. We do tremendously. The persons who manage the Facebook page would always say they don't have to delete a comment or to pull up on one of our commentators. So that has been the approach. We are a professional organization. We publish our work, and Nikoli, that is important.
Yes.
We retain, as an organization, the right to publish our work. We try to edify the public as much as possible. And so with the ongoing rains, you find we would put up our little satellite imagery that is professionally acquired, and to try to guide the population to become more weather conscious and weather wise. And we live in a time, Nikoli, where you have to be conscious of everything that you do. And if we have a more edified population, you would find that you would have less incidents. So we engage our followers professionally, and that has been good. And we now recognize our name is a household name throughout Trinidad and Tobago. You see the orange I wear when we were in Palo Seco.
Yes.
The residents just had to glimpse that orange and say, Hunters, what's the feedback? You found anything inside there? And that has been the response to every community we've been in. People engage us, and they're happy to have us with them. And take, for instance, Nikoli, that small community up in Narva, close to the Narva swamp, right? We had an incident recently. It was a challenging exercise for us as a team. A gentleman had gone missing, and the family contacted us. He had gone into the Narva swamp to look for young baby parrots to sell, and he didn't come back. It was 5 or 6 days he went missing, and by the time we got to the community, his friends had already done some searches. They had practically given up, and when we touched down in that community, you could see the reinvigoration and a change in attitude. They wanted to go back out. They were willing to go, and so we used our drone. We went up. It's a large area, deep area, and we were able to spot a flock of kobo on one particular tree, and we got that location. And the next morning, we went in with these same villagers. They were now fired up. They saw the light at the end of the tunnel with that flock of kobos on the tree. Here it is. There was a possibility that we could have located their close friend, and we went in, and he was located within an hour and 36 minutes. A very challenging environment. You had to go through 3 to 5 feet of swamp water, water that contains caimans, leeches, the anacondas. The best way to wear in that situation is to go in with less clothing and lighter boots, So members went in with sneakers and short pants and a light jersey. You couldn't take in much because the water was up to chin height in some cases. So they embraced the search and took the villagers with us, and we went in and we were able to locate the gentleman's body. You could imagine that family today. They've achieved closure. With not for our intervention, that body would not have been discovered and would have left her
Indeed.
hanging from that tree because he fell. He fell while harvesting the
Young
parrots,
one,
and
yes.
his feet got entwined in vines and branches, and he remained suspended upside down, and he died. Unfortunately, he died there.
Yes.
And but you could imagine the family's relief, and they would have achieved closure. I mean, it's difficult at the beginning, but it's even much more difficult if they had to continue on with their lives with not locating their loved one's body.
Understood.
And we say all the time, it's the best of the worst situation. We need to find the body so that these families could achieve proper closure. It will bring an earlier healing process to the situation, and they will be able to move on from that
Yes.
better than if a body is not located.
I could imagine. And I myself was very impressed by the strategy that was undertaken, the use of drone technology going out there. And I remember speaking with a friend, and we were zooming in on that photo to understand how was it that you all located that. But of course, you're explaining that there is a method to it. Now, we have just a few more seconds, but I really wanted to get in this. Is it that you all are expected to undertake, let's say, more training from various, whether local, regional, or international organizations to beef up your efforts? And also, in terms of funding or any kind of support, is it that the public can contribute to your team, and has that been taking place thus far?
First of all, with respect to training, we've been engaged in training, continuous training. Just a week or two ago, the team gathered to be trained in first aid and various forms of training required for first responders.
Yes.
We had done some training in CPR, and we have another one coming up. There's other training schedule for us to be able to navigate in Trinidad and Tobago and to understand the global positioning system. And we need to enhance our skills in the water environment. Recently, we went to look for a young man off the coast of in Cali Bay there. His mother hadn't seen him for 5 days, and he was found in a little camp of Cali Bay, just engaging in what our youngsters do. They have a time away from home, but he was located. But we were on water, so those are the types of training that we need to continuously do to enhance our skills. With respect to funding is always welcome, but we engage persons who would agree not to entangle us or not to put demands on us. We want to remain free to do what we want. We've had KFC come on board to supply us with meals when we are on the field, and that has assisted us tremendously. We're able to share that resources with the police officers, forestry team, anybody who wants searches with us, the villagers, and that has been welcome. We need urgently, Nikoli, appropriate vehicles for search and rescue efforts, and the question of funding of fuel bills, that is top of the agenda, and we need help, and we welcome anyone who is willing to donate to the team. Our number is on the Facebook page. You could contact us via Messenger, TikTok, or various other social media platforms, and get in contact with us, and we will certainly welcome this hands-free type of support from anyone.
Lovely. Well, I want to thank you so much. You spoke of your number being there 7991453 and Hunters Search and Rescue Team at gmail.com, and you can check them out on Facebook, Hunters Search and Rescue Team. Vallence, let me say thank you so much for joining us this morning. Of course, unfortunately, we're out of time, but it was indeed a pleasure understanding the work that you all are engaged in, and I really and truly wish you well and your team moving forward. Continue to be really a shining example of what it means to be Trinbagonian, supporting one another and going out there fearlessly. So thank you so much.
You're welcome. It was a pleasure being on your program, Nikolai, and let me extend an invitation to you that if you need to come on a search with us to go through at least the experience for once, so
Yes.
that you could continue to, understand that this is selfless service to Trinidad and Tobago. It comes at no cost to anyone. And we will continue to do our bit to assist these families and wherever our services are needed.
Yes, I would definitely take you up on that offer. Thank you so much. And
You're welcome.